Americans are gearing up, for what is being billed as must-see TV tonight. In just under 90 minutes' time, the Special House Committee investigating the Capitol Hill riot will hold its first public hearing, and it will be live in prime time. The committee says the evidence will show former President Donald Trump was at the center of a coordinated effort to overturn the 2020 election. Republicans who back Trump, though, are dismissing the committee's work as political and illegitimate.
It has used congressional subpoenas to attack Republicans, violate due process, and infringe on the political speech of private citizens. And let's be honest, it is a smokescreen for Democrats to push their radical agenda.
Frank Luntz is with us now to talk about this. He's a longtime pollster and political strategist. Mr. Luntz, always good to have you on the program. Thanks for making the time.
It's a pleasure.
Can we start off with what we just heard from Kevin McCarthy? You know the sentiment of the American public better than most people. How reflective are those comments of it?
The public believes it's about 50-50 between the public saying that this is real and Trump provoked it, Trump caused it to happen on January 6th, and those who do not believe so. But in the end, it's serious, it's significant. The public sees that we have a problem in our democracy. The level of disdain for political performances is at an all-time high. Does it rank as high as inflation? No. Does it rank as high as the level of insecurity the public has based on both internal crime and immigration and external the challenge in Ukraine and Russia? The answer is no. But the public does believe that there's something wrong, and a whole lot of people are going to watch in about 90 minutes because they want to know the truth.
And do you think they will get the truth tonight?
I think they're going to be shocked. And I'll give you a way to judge how successful it is. Number one, are the videos damning? Are they seeing things that they haven't seen before? Are people behaving in that Capitol building in a way that we haven't seen before? Number two, what are the words? And I'm told that there are going to be some language from Trump's family that is going to shock people by what they had to say in their testimony. We will have to wait and see. And third is, and this is going to be the biggest challenge for Democrats, does it look like this investigation is devoid of partisanship? Are they doing it for the best interests of the country, or does it seem like they're doing it for their own political interests, as Leader McCarthy just suggested? I can't tell, and we're going to have to wait, and it's going to be about 2 hours, I'm told, which is a little bit longer than the average American would probably watch. Ideally, they would present their information, present the videos, present the facts in about a 60 to 90-minute fashion. But if they hit those 3 points, then yes, it will be effective.
What do you think Americans have to see to come to the conclusions that Democrats are not all about the partisanship in this? Like, what sort of would they have to see tonight to say, hey, this isn't just a partisan witch hunt, as the Republicans have characterized it?
The video has to really shock people, and it's pretty hard to do that right now because people have already seen so much. I know that what we saw on January 6th was very different on your show, was very different than what we saw a few days later, a few months later. And it's now been a year and a half, so we've been accustomed to it. The question is, in the speeches, do they talk about democracy? Is the indictment of Trump an indictment of behavior or simply an indictment of him personally? And I know that sounds similar, but it really isn't. Are we seeing the direct evidence that without his comments, January 6th would not have happened? Without his performance at the rally outside the White House, none of this would have happened. It's a relatively high bar, but it is absolutely achievable. And to dismiss it is a mistake, not just for the Republicans or the Democrats, but it's a mistake for the country, because clearly what happened and the aftermath and the fact that we are still talking about this 18 months later, that tells me that this is something meaningful and measurable, and it also tells me that the world is watching as well. And I know this from my teachings, from my global teachings, that it has had a negative impact on America's global reputation.
When it comes to the potential culpability of the former president himself, I'd love to know what your polling shows on that. I've been listening to sort of various U.S. networks over the past few weeks, and they have seemed to show, and I don't know if yours corroborates this or you see something different, but there was kind of in the aftermath of January 6th, definitely a higher percentage of people or portion of people who believed or held Trump responsible to some degree, and that has diminished over time. Is that what you see as well?
It's that exactly what we've seen. But when you have just under 50% still holding the president, the former president, accountable, that's significant.
Right.
And clearly what will happen over these 90 minutes or 2 hours is not going to be good for his reputation. But I say this to viewers and listeners tonight. It is at least a 50-50 shot that he's going to run again. It is at least a 50-50 shot that he's going to engage in American politics. That as much as we want to look at this through the rearview mirror as to what happened, I think some of this is designed for the future to set the predicate that he is not qualified to seek the presidency again. And whether or not the public agrees or challenges that is dependent on what they see this evening. And the other thing is, make no mistake, almost every network is covering tonight. This is what they call wall-to-wall coverage. It's a block. So no matter if you watch ABC, NBC, CBS, if you watch most of the cable companies, but not Fox, you're going to get exactly what happens this evening. So I do emphasize that it's not been since Watergate that the public has spent this much focus on a particular political event in America.
Do you believe that Americans are movable in their conclusions that they have already drawn? And if so, what portion of them?
That's truly a fantastic question, because even though I emphasize the significance of this, and I'm not willing to go along with those who simply dismiss it for being partisan, but again, that's up to the Democrats. The truth is about 35% of Americans have aligned themselves to Donald Trump, and nothing will change them. About 40% of Americans have aligned themselves against Donald Trump, and nothing will move them. So you're really only looking for about 1 in 4 that might still be influenced by what happens this evening and over the coming weeks.
Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Mr. Luntz, thanks so much. Appreciate your insights as always.
It's a privilege.
That is Frank Luntz, as we've been discussing in just about Hi, I'm Vashi Capellos, host of Power in Politics. See more of our show by subscribing to the CBC News channel or click the link for another video.